Hey everyone, this is John Arnel as Cabigon from Bachelor of Technology in Livelihood Education, major in ICT-2-7B. So today I am going to discuss to you the Agrarian Reform Policies. Before anything else, I would like to present to you what are the things that we are going to discuss. So we have the overview of the Agrarian Reform and the history of the Agrarian Reform. So for the information of everyone, so agrarian reform is or we commonly known as Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, more commonly known as CARP, is an agrarian reform law of the Philippines whose legal basis is the Republic Act number 6657, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. So the purpose of this, through the CARP, initiated in 1987, the government addressed key national goals, the promotion of equity and social justice, food security, and poverty alleviation in the countryside. Moving on. So, agrarian reform was established in the period of pre-Spanish or the pre-Spanish period. Quote, "This land is ours, God gave this land to us." End quote. Before the Spaniards came to the Philippines, Filipinos lived in villages or barangays ruled by chiefs or datus. The datus comprised the nobility. Then came the maharlikas or the freemen, followed by the aliping mamamahay, serfs, and aliping sagigilig, slaves. However, despite the existence of different classes in the social structure, practically everyone had access to the fruits of the soil. Money was unknown, and rice served as the medium of exchange. So they basically do the concept of trading. Trading was included with exchange of rice or fruits or any crops that are available because money at that time was unknown. Moving on, the Spanish period. Unite, quote, "United we stand, divided we fall," end quote. When the Spaniards came to the Philippines, the concept of encomendia, or royal land grants, was introduced. This system grants that encomendieros must defend his encomendia from external attack, maintain peace and order within, and support the missionaries. In turn, the encomendero acquired the right to collect tribute from the Indios or native. The system, however, degenerated into abuse of power by the encomenderos. The tributes soon became land rents to a few powerful landlords, and the natives who once cultivated the lands in freedom were transformed into mere share tenants. So, in the Spanish period, there were some conquerors, more commonly known as Spaniards. They actually colonized Philippines, and they take over the lands, and they take the advantage of they outnumbered the people or the farmers on that area so that they can conquer the lands, and no Filipinos were actually ruled or that is currently ruling on that land because they were colonized by the Spanish in this time. Moving on. American period. Quote, "Long live America." End quote. Significant legislation enacted during the American period. Philippine Bill of 1902 set the ceilings on the hectareage of private individuals and corporations may acquire. 16 has for private individuals and 1,024 has for corporations. Land Registration Act of 1902, Act number 496, provided for a comprehensive registration of land titles under the torrent system. Public Land Act of 1903 introduced the homestead system in the Philippines. Tenancy Act of 1933, Act number 4054 and 4113, regulated relationships between landowners and tenants of rice, 50-50 sharing, and sugarcane lands. The torrent system, which the Americans instituted for the registration of lands, did not solve the problem completely. Either way, they were not aware of the law, or if they did, they're gonna pay the survey costs and other fees regarding applying for the torrents title. Commonwealth period. Government for the Filipinos. President Manuel L. Quezon espoused the social justice program to arrest the increasing social unrest in Central Luzon. Significant legislation enacted during Commonwealth period. 1935 Constitution, the promotion of social justice to ensure the well-being and economic security of all people should be the concern of the state. Commonwealth Act Number 178, an amendment of Rice Tenancy Act Number 40405, November 13, 1936, provided for the certain controls in the landlord-tenants relationships. National Rice and Corn Corporation, or NARIC, 1936, established the price of rice and corn, thereby help the poor tenants as well as consumers. Commonwealth Act Number 461, 1937, specified reasons for the dismissal of tenants and only with the approval of the Tenancy Division of the Department of Justice. Rural Program and Administration, created March 2, 1939, provided the purchase and lease of haciendas under sale and lease to the tenants. Commonwealth Act Number 441, enacted on June 3, 1939, created the National Settlement Administration with a capital stock of 20 million pesos. Moving on, the Japanese occupation. Quote, the era of Hukbalahap. End quote. The Second World War started in Europe in 1939 and in the Pacific in 1941. The Hukbalahap controlled whole areas of central Luzon. Landlords who supported the Japanese lost their lands to peasants, while those who supported the Huks earned fixed rentals in favor of the tenants. Unfortunately, the end of the war also signaled the end of gains acquired by the peasants. Upon the arrival of the Japanese in the Philippines in 1942, peasants and workers' organization grew strength. Many peasants took up arms and identified themselves with the anti-Japanese group, the Hukbalahap or Hukbo ng Bayan Laban sa Hapon. The Hukbong Bayan Laban sa Hapon, better known by the acronym Hukbalahap, was a communist guerrilla movement formed by the farmers of Central Luzon. The Philippine Republic, the new republic. After the establishment of the Philippine independence in 1946, the problems of land tenure remained. These became worse in certain areas. Thus, the Congress of the Philippines revised the tenancy law. However, despite the existence of different classes in the social structure, practically everyone had access to the fruits of the soil. Money was unknown and rice served as a medium of exchange. So, this is the first president who established um, the Agrarian Reform Law. President Manuel A. Rojas enacted the following laws. Republic Number 34 established the 70-30 sharing arrangements and regulating shared tenancy contracts. Republic Act Number 55 provided for a more effective safeguard against arbitrary ejectment of tenants. Elpidio R. Quirino, 1948 to 1953, enacted the following law. Executive Order Number 355, issued on October 23, 1950, replaced the National Land Settlement Administration with Land Settlement Development Corporation, or more commonly known as LASEDECO, which takes over the responsibilities of the Agricultural Machinery Equipment Corporation and the Rice and Corn Production Administration. Ramon Magsaysay, 1953 to 1957, enacted the following laws. Republic Act Number 1400 or 1400, Land Reform Act of 1955, created the Land Tenure Administration or LTA, which was responsible for the acquisition and distribution of large tenanted rice in corn lands over 200 hectares for individuals and 600 hectares for corporations. Republic Act Number 821, creation of Agricultural Credit Cooperative Financing Administration, provided small farmers and shared tenants loans with low interest rates of 6 to 8%. President Carlos P. Garcia, 1957 to 1961. So President Carlos P. Garcia um, did not did not did not add anything, but he continued the program President Ramon Magsaysay. No new legislation passed. President Diosdado P. Macapagal, 1961 to 1965, enacted the following law. Republic Act Number 3844 of August 8, 1963, Agricultural Land Reform Code, abolished share tenancy, institutionalized leasehold, set retention limit at 75 hectares, invested rights of preemption and redemption for tenants farmers, provided for an administrative machinery for implementation, institutionalized a judicial system of agrarian cases, incorporated extension, marketing, and supervised credit system of services of farmers' beneficiaries. The Republic Act was held as one of the would emancipate Filipino farmers from the bondage of tenancy. President Ferdinand E. Marcos, 1965 to 1986. Proclamation number 1081 of September 21st, 1972 ushered the period of the new society. 5 days after the proclamation of martial law, the entire country was proclaimed land reformed area, and simultaneously the Agrarian reform program was decreed. President Marcos enacted the following laws: Republic Act Number 6389, Code of Agrarian Reform, and Republic Act Number 6390 of 1971, created Department of Agrarian Reform and the Agrarian Reform Special Account Fund, strengthened the position of farmers, and expanded the scope of agrarian reform. Presidential Decree Number 2, September 26, 1972, declared the country under Land Reform Program. It enjoined all agencies and offices of the government to extend full cooperation and assistance to the DAR. It also activated the Agrarian Reform Coordinating Council. Presidential Decree Number 27, October 21st, 1972, restricted land reform, scope to tenanted rights and corn lands, and set the retention limit at 7 hectares. President Corazon C. Aquino, 1986 to 1992. Republic Act Number 6657, or otherwise known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, or CARL. The Constitution ratified by the Filipino people during the administration of President Corazon C. Aquino provides under the Section 21 under Article 2 that the state shall promote comprehensive and rural development and agrarian reform. On June 10, 1988, former President Corazon C. Aquino signed into law Republic Act Number. President Corazon C. Aquino enacted the following laws: Executive Order Number 407, June 14, 1990, accelerated the acquisition and distribution of agricultural lands, pastoral lands, fish ponds, agroforestry lands, and other lands of the public domain suitable for agriculture. The law became effective on June 15, 1988. Republic Act 229, July 22, 1987. Provided mechanism for the implementation of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, CAR. President Corazon C. Aquino established or made a lot of Republic Act or laws in his term or in her regime. So those are a lot to mention. So I did not include some of them, but you can search it on Google because she established a lot of act for the farmers for the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. President Carlos P. Aquino, 1957 to 1961. Oh, sorry. This is technical error. So this is for President Fidel V. Ramos, 1992 to 1998. When President Fidel V. Ramos formally took over in 1992, his administration came face to face with publics who have lost confidence in the agrarian reform program. His administration committed to the efficient, fairer, faster, and more meaningful implementation of the agrarian reform program. President Fidel V. Ramos enacted the following laws: Republic Act No. 781, 1995, amended certain provisions of RA 6657 and exempted fish ponds and prawns from the coverage of corp. Republic Act No. 7905, 1995, strengthened the implementation of the corp. Executive Order Number 363, 1987 limits the type of lands that may be converted by setting conditions, under which limits the type of lands that may be converted by setting conditions under which specific categories of agricultural land are either absolutely non-negotiable for conversion or highly restricted for conversion. Republic Act Number 8435, 1997, Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act, or AFMA, plug the legal loopholes in land use conversion. Republic Act 8532 or 1998 Agrarian Reform Fund Bill provided an additional 50 billion for CARP and extended its implementation for another 10 years. President Joseph E. Estrada, 1998 to 2000. Quote, era para sa mahirap. End quote. This was the battle cry that endeared President Joseph Estrada and made him very popular during 1998 presidential election. President Joseph E. Estrada initiated an enactment of the following law: Executive Order Number 151, September 1999, Farmers Trust Fund, allowed the voluntary consolidation of small farm operation into medium and large scale integrated enterprise that can access long-term capital. During his administration, President Estrada launched the Magkabalikat para sa Kaunlarang Agraryo or Magkasaka. The DAR forged into joint ventures with private investors into agrarian sector to make FBs competitive. However, the Estrada administration was short-lived. The masses who put him into office demanded for his ouster. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, 2000 to 2010. The Agrarian Reform Program under the Arroyo administration is anchored on the vision to make the countryside economically viable for the Filipino family by building partnership and promoting social equity and new economic opportunities towards lasting peace and sustainable rural development. Land tenure be proven, DAR will remain vigorous in implementing land acquisition and distribution component of CARP. The DAR will improve land tenure system through land distribution and leasehold. Provision of support services. CARP not only involves the distribution of lands but also included package of support services which includes credit assistance, extension services, irrigation facilities, roads and bridges, marketing facilities, and training and technical support programs. Infrastructure projects. DAR will transform the agrarian reform communities, ARCs, an area focused in integrated delivery of support services, into rural economic zones that will help in the creation of job opportunities in the countryside. Kalahi R Zone. The Kalahi Agrarian Reform or CAR zones were also launched. These zones consist of one or more municipalities with concentration of ARC population to achieve greater agri-productivity. Agrarian justice. To help clear the backlog of agrarian cases, DAR will hire more paralegal officers to support undermanned adjudicatory boards and introduce quota system to compel adjudicators to work faster in agrarian reform cases. DAR will respect the rights of both farmers and landowners. President Benigno Aquino III, 2010 to 2016. President Benigno Aquino III vowed during his 2012 State of the Nation address that he would complete before the end of his term the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, the centerpiece program of the administration of his mother, President Corazon Aquino. The younger Aquino distributed their family-owned hacienda, Luis Sierra and Tarlac. Apart from the said farms lots, he also promised to complete the distribution of privately owned lands on productive agricultural estates in the country that have escaped the coverage of the program. Under his administration, the Agrarian Reform Community Connectivity and Economic Support Services, or ARCSES, project was created to contribute to the overall goal of rural poverty reduction, especially in agrarian reform areas. Agrarian Production Credit Program provided credit support for crop production to newly organized and existing agrarian reform beneficiaries organizations or ARBOs and farmers, organizations not qualified to avail themselves of loans under the regular credit windows of banks. The Legal Case Monitoring System, or LCMS, a web-based legal system for recording and monitoring various kinds of agrarian cases at the provincial, regional, and central offices of the DAR to ensure faster resolution and close monitoring of agrarian-related cases was also launched. Aside from these initiatives, Aquino also enacted Executive Order Number 26, Series of 2011, to mandate the Department of Agriculture, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Department of Agrarian Reform Convergence Initiative to develop a national greening program in cooperation with other government agencies. Moving on, the last president of that has established the CARP, or the Agrarian Reform Law, which is President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, 2016 and present. Under his leadership, the president wants to pursue an aggressive land reform program that would help alleviate the life of poor Filipino farmers by prioritizing the provision of support services alongside land distribution. The president directed the DAR to launch the second phase of agrarian reform when landless farmers would be awarded with undistributed lands under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP. The 30 plans to place almost of public lands, including military reserves, under agrarian reform. The president also placed 400 hectares of agricultural lands in Boracay under CARP. Under his administration, the DAR created an anti-corruption task force to investigate and handle reports on alleged anomalous activities by officials and employees of the department. The department also pursues an upland zero backfog in the resolution of cases in relation to agrarian justice, delivery of the agrarian reform program to fast-track the implementation of CARP. The agrarian reform contributed to relieve the employment pressure and to increase agricultural production and productivity, although it could not prevent a massive exodus of rural population from the mountains and the most marginal areas. But agrarian reform has contributed to improvement of the socio-economic conditions of landless farmers and political development of the Philippines in terms of engaging the landless in a process of policy making a distribution of large private land holdings to the landless. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you learned something. Bye.